Serif, the developers of the Affinity products Affinity Photo, Designer and Publisher, started October by disabling the ability to purchase their software and instead showing this cryptic message on their homepage. They're announcing what they call creative freedom to be released at the end of October. This caused a lot of stir and anxiety within the community what this could mean, especially since Serif held back a lot on communication within the last couple of months, and they recently set their own forums to be read-only and recommended to seek help on their Discord server instead. Also, the last real feature update has been released 7 months ago, which biggest addition was the AI selection to Affinity Photo. So what could be the reason behind this very cryptic message on their store page? What seems most likely to a lot of people inside the community is that this announcement is the preparation for the release of Affinity V3. So basically an update increasing the version number of Affinity, which in the pricing of their perpetual license means you would have to purchase a new license to update. And last time they updated from V1 to V2, there has been quite some trouble with people that just bought the V1 version feeling ripped off. Apparently Serif gave out licenses for V2 for free for everyone who bought the V1 version within 14 days before the V2 version has been released. But even that approach left some people unsatisfied because people who bought it 15 days before the release still had to pay for the new license. Of course, such decisions will always cause some people to be disadvantaged. So Serif taking down their products from the store might just be a way to prevent this trouble from happening again. But that possible explanation still leaves some gaps. If that's the reason, why aren't they just saying this in their statement? Why are they trying to make a secret out of their announced change and call it true creative freedom instead? Of course, one reason could be that it's just a way to generate hype by making people have to speculate and people like me making videos about the topic. It is definitely a simple and effective method, but also makes people lose trust in your brand since you're kinda playing with their feelings and expectations. Because in the community, there is a lot of anxiety right now of people fearing the worst. Especially since the Affinity products have been acquired by Canva, which is a generally disliked platform among a lot of designers. And Canva's pricing is one of the main reasons why people dislike it, since it is a subscription service. So people are now afraid of Canva also applying a subscription model to the Affinity products as well. This fear has been lingering for a while now since Canva acquired Affinity. And Canva and Serif are aware of this, which made them publish 4 pledges they make to the community about a year ago. One of those pledges included that they would always stick to a perpetual licensing and would only offer subscriptions for a service alongside the Affinity products. Still, people remain very skeptical about it, especially since some people think that creative freedom could be some corporate way of promoting a subscription model, since the price tag is lower even if it would just grant you 1 month of access to the software instead of a permanent access, and that you have the freedom to cancel the subscription anytime you like. Personally, I don't think that this is what's going to happen. The perpetual licensing has always been the selling point of the Affinity products. So even from a greedy corporate perspective, it wouldn't really make sense. Some people also forecast the integration of AI into the Affinity products, which could be offered using a subscription model with something like monthly generative credits, as that wouldn't break their pledge. Also, a lot of AI bros like to refer to AI as making the creation of art accessible to anyone, which would fit the creative freedom theme. This feels more likely than a complete change of their existing pricing. But still, I don't think that this is the change they are announcing, because the AI models they've added to Affinity Photo were installed locally, and developers have stated before that they don't plan to ever add generative AI into the Affinity products, only AI features that speed up the process. And both local and non-generative AI models don't really work as a subscription service because you usually pay for the computing of AI tasks which in the case of local models, you perform on your own hardware. Another theory that could implement a subscription service would be further merging Canva and Affinity. And yeah, I think this is definitely a likely possibility, especially since you can get Affinity for free with a Canva education or non-profit plan. The last theory regarding the pricing could also be that Affinity will switch to being free or freemium. It would definitely fit the theme and would be a good explanation for taking down the store pages. But I don't think Canva just bought them to give them away for free. So maybe they will offer a free and pro version instead, as a way to reach more customers through the free version. It could explain them taking down the forum, as it would probably be very confusing if there would be free softwares that each come in 2 different versions. I think this theory could be likely. I can't really say anything against the freemium or pro version approach, but somehow I still doubt it. Okay, now that we went over possible changes of their pricing, I want to go over some theories regarding changes being made to the software itself, which also seem pretty likely. Because on Shithole, formerly known as Twitter, they responded to someone saying that they've disabled the store to transition cleanly without confusing between versions. Also reassuring that existing customers will keep full access to their apps. So it pretty much confirms that there will be a new version, so it might just be an upgrade to V3. Some people speculated that their plan might be to integrate all existing products into one software. I honestly think this could be very likely, as in Publisher you already have smaller versions of Photo and Designer integrated, so it could just be an expansion of that concept. It would also fit to the creative freedom theme, as you wouldn't be limited to creating only things your current software is capable of. So you could create raster, vector and whatever in the same app, which in the case of Affinity Designer is also already possible to some extent. And on the background of the cryptic message, you can also see a vector handle, which might be a hint towards fusing vector and raster graphics. Also, the handle and some other promotional content is in green, which might just have been chosen because green is also referred to as the color of freedom in some cultures, or maybe it is the color of a new software. And when it comes to new software, there of course are a lot of people hoping for an After Effects alternative from Affinity. But yeah, they pretty much denied that on Twitter. They also denied that the creative freedom refers to Linux support. But there's one last theory I found very interesting, because someone took the approach of further analyzing what's currently being presented, which is the cryptic message on their homepage. They've also pointed out the vector handle in the background and said that the path the handle is attached to looks like a mirrored lowercase s. They've also noticed the font being used is called Affinity Serif, which they've never seen anywhere before. And since most of the fonts we use are basically vector graphics, they've built the theory that it might be a hint towards more precise vector tools, like you know them from type creation software like FontLab. Or maybe it is about a new software package adding the ability to create fonts. And the Affinity Serif font might be a demonstration of the new vector tools or font creation software. In my opinion, it would also fit to the creative freedom theme, as you could understand it as not having to rely on third-party fonts anymore, even if it is a bit of a stretch. This theory just seems so cool that it makes me root for it. So my personal hunch currently is that this theory about vector tools and fonts, the split into a pro and free version, or just a regular release of V3 are the most possible outcomes. I don't think it is going to be something bad that is being announced, like switching entirely to a subscription model. Nonetheless, I don't really like the style of communication. They basically just remained silent for a long time and then took their products offline. That is basically the corporate equivalent of someone ghosting you and then unfriending or blocking you out of the blue on top. And I mean, if you look at their social media channels, you can see that the community isn't appreciating this kind of behavior. They are mad, scared, and fear the worst. And I think it's an understandable response to the situation. But let's just hope for the best. We will see what happens at the end of the month. So, until next time.